Hello, First Irving. We have an exciting outreach opportunity upcoming. You're familiar with it, I'm sure. It's called Light the Night. And we want to take a moment in this video to help communicate to you how you can be engaged with this incredible ministry, Light the Night. There are very few opportunities we have in our communities to engage them where everyone is outside walking around, and what better opportunity for us to be lights in our neighborhoods than Halloween. So we're going to walk through some questions to help answer some of your questions and teach you how to be engaged for Light the Night. So John, what are we asking people to do on Light the Night?
Well, the first thing we're asking people to do is to be seen. And all that means is simply the night of the event, the Halloween night, we would ask you to be present at your home, whether it's sitting on your lawn, sitting in your front door, lights on, just to let your neighborhood know that you're going to be a part of that event, that you're there to greet them in whatever form that looks like.
John, are we asking everyone to be at their homes, or are there going to be certain specific locations that we host this year like in the past?
It's a great question. As it stands, we understand that some neighborhoods you may not want to do that. You may not have a neighborhood that you can be present in the home. Well, if that's true, we have 4 sites that will be available that night. All you need to do is get in touch with me or Leanne Calloway, and we can provide what that Swerson site might look like.
Right? And one of those locations is not going to be the church location this year, is that right?
That's exactly right.
So why is that?
We felt like the best way to do this was to reach out into the community. Whereas in the past, we'd had an event at the church, we localized a lot of resources and realized that we were asking people to come to us instead of us now being more available to them. We felt like the better approach in terms of discipleship and outreach was to step out into the neighborhoods as much as that's possible.
So one of the things we've been focusing on this year is really using our homes to engage our neighborhoods. And so we really want to highlight that part of our vision as a church and redeem it during the Halloween season, to open certain homes in specific key neighborhoods in our area, but then encourage those who can't be a part of those locations or who prefer to stay in their home to figure out a way to utilize their home on this night to get to know their neighbors, engage them, and maybe communicate some information about our church. So John, how would you encourage people to get to know their neighbors? Are there some tips you have they could utilize on Halloween night to get to know their neighbors?
We have that in a simple form. We call it Know Their Story. And all that simply means is we have 3 specific questions that we would encourage you to approach whoever you have a chance to talk with. The first is to walk up to that person, to introduce yourself and say, hey, my name is John. What's your name? A great way to kind of be an icebreaker. Second thing is to say to that person, well, I live in this neighborhood. I live close by here. Do you live close as well? Do you live close to where we're talking now? It gives an opportunity to kind of, again, to develop some weaving in that relationship. Mm-hmm. And the third thing that I would encourage is to approach from the standpoint, if you have children yourself, you could mention, I have 2 sons. Do you have children yourself? If they don't have kids, it might be one of those places too. You could share with them, well, I go to church at First Irving. Do you attend church somewhere close to here? With those 3 basic questions, you have an opportunity to begin to develop a relationship just in simple communication. And then from that, we would encourage you to try to set up some kind of a return conversation, an opportunity maybe to get together for coffee, a lunch. Hey, I live just around the corner. Would you like our kids to come have play dates? Things along that line. Things to weave that relationship beginning together.
Some great suggestions. So we want you to be seen. We want you to get to know your neighbors, and then we want you to love your neighborhood. So What are some other practical things that we can do besides just giving out candy on Halloween night to communicate to our neighbors in our neighborhood that we are for them and that we love them?
Well, some of the easiest ways I can think of is to offer them an offering, to bring to them cookies, to suggest to them your children and my children could play together. And while they're playing together, could we talk about different things? You could invite yourself to mow their lawn. You'd be surprised at how many people will jump on that one. At the same time, you can invite them to church with us. This is that place where if you allow the Holy Spirit to flow, you will understand at the moment what it is you need to be addressing that person with. Just simple tips, though. Remembering, too, we don't want to be invasive. We're not trying to slap people around with what we're trying to do. But what we are trying to do is offer ourselves up as a gracious host for whatever next meeting that might look like.
Yeah, it's important that we recognize that this is something that should be done from a genuine heart of love from the Lord and then for our neighbors. God has strategically placed us in our neighborhoods for a reason. And so what an incredible opportunity again for us to take advantage of where God has strategically placed us to begin having conversations that can lead to spiritual conversations and can lead to other conversations that will benefit the kingdom. So we want you to be seen. We want you to engage your neighbors in conversation. And then we want you to, as John said, have some follow-up conversations available for how you can utilize the information that you find out on Halloween night for future engagement with your neighbors. Now, John, are there any other needs for Light the Night as we prepare for that night?
Oh, very much so. 3 specifically. The first thing we need, obviously, is we need candy, because the homes that will be in place, the Foresight homes, will need all that resourcing that they can come up with. The second thing, of course, is volunteers. The more people that we can get in those homes, in those communities, the better. And if you choose to be at your home that night, you may need some of these same resources. If you're interested in signing up for that, these forms will be available in different places around the church. We would ask you to fill this out, give us an idea of what you'd like to do. Now, the third thing we would encourage, and very, very much encourage, is prayer for the night. Because let's face it, guys, what we're trying to do is a work that we want to be sure we're not doing by ourselves, that the Holy Spirit is flowing through what we're trying to accomplish. The Lord can be served well if we put it all in prayer before Him.
Absolutely. You know, a lot of people say that they don't have very much time to get to know their neighbors. They never see their neighbors outside. People drive up to their house, the garage door goes up, and then you pull in, the garage door goes down, and that's the last that you see of your neighbors. Well, Halloween's an exception. And I hope that you're excited about the opportunity that the Lord has given us as a church to engage our communities on this night. So hope to see you there.